is going on, Alex Gem family? Welcome to the Alex Gem experience. We're going to do something a bit different today. That's right. That's why I like to mix things up. I like to keep you on your toes. Yes, metaphorically speaking, at least. So this podcast is called Lessons in Excellence. So this is completely random. I have no clue what we're going to talk about. But you know what I love about this sort of podcast? Sometimes, I really enjoy teaching you about certain things, certain topics. But the problem is, sometimes these certain topics, they overlap and they coincide, and I end up going down a different tunnel or a different river, if you will. And I feel constrained because I force myself to come back, and sometimes I just want to go. I just want to talk, and God knows what we're going to explore today. We might start off in one area and end up somewhere completely different, and that's absolutely fine. This is all about flowing. So, what's been on my mind recently? What's been on my mind is the ego. That's what I've been really delving into as of late. And I've been learning and exploring and doing some self-reflecting. And, I just want to put it out there. The ego is very much connected to our fears. Because when we identify with our minds, we identify with our egos, and we identify with whatever we assume to be our identity. And that includes things like our culture, our nationality, our gender, our age, our belief systems, our appearance, whether we're obese or slim or muscular or athletic or not coordinated, uncoordinated, and all these sort of things. Or, when we think about our ego, we consider our problems, and, when we talk about our problems, we fuel our ego. But something that I've come to learn about our ego is that it can never be satisfied. Because where there's ego, there is reflection, and there's a projection. We either consider the past, like how maybe we were, disrespected by a colleague, or we were let down by one of our children, or a friend betrayed our trust, or you lost money in something, an investment of some kind or something like this. And, when we're reflecting and dwelling on the past, especially if it's a negative experience, but even if it's positive, I guess, we are really playing with our egos. And it's a game that never ends. And it's a game that simply drains us and drowns us, if you will, of our vital energy. Because when we're in the ego, we are immersed in an abyss. We are immersed in a labyrinth. And there's no means to success when our egos are concerned, because we can always do more, be more, share more, give more. And if all we have is our self-identification, if all we have is our reputation, our egos, thinking that we're extremely special or extremely significant, that we're really special and these sort of things, then it's going to oppress us. Because when we think of our ego, we also think of actual things like tangible goods, right? Our cars, our dress sense, our homes, our husband, our wives, these are things that we identify with. This is us, this is my house. This is the way I look. These are my watches. These are my shoes. And we accumulate all these things because we're constantly trying to search for some deeper meaning. And if we're constantly looking to search for deeper meaning, then, it's endless. Very much like the solar system, very much like the abyss. And it's just a constant battle. And it's a battle that cannot be won. That's why you can be the most successful person, the wealthiest person in the world. You can have the best body, be the most attractive person in the world, all these sorts of things, have all these kind of these kind of rewards and trophies and all these sorts of things, and it still won't be enough. Because it's a game, and it's a game, as I said earlier, that we cannot win. So instead, it's down to us to simply enjoy the present moment, because that's all we ever have, right? There is no past. There is no future, in fact, because all we have is the present moment. Even the present moment in the future is still not known as the future because it will be the present moment at that time. And, there's never a past. There was just the present moment. There was always just the now. So as long as we keep focused on the present moment, and don't get me wrong, I personally think it's impossible to constantly live in the present moment because, I think it's impractical, to be honest with you. I do think there is a balance needed in life. There's a time to focus on your goals. There's a time to plan for the future. There's a time to think long term and these sorts of things. But the problem is when the mind gets out of control, and our biggest addictions are our own minds. Our own minds are our biggest addictions. We become addicted with our egos. We become addicted to our own problems because it serves to remind us of our false self, our egos. And, we gain significance by talking to others about our problems. Oh, you think you've got problems? How about my problem? Listen to this. This is what happened with me. This is what my spouse did to me. Oh, you think you've got problems with your kids? My kids did this. You won't believe it. And all these sorts of things. And it's a way of us to feel significant. It's a way of us to dwell on our past and to become associated with the mind. And the problem is when we do this consecutively, day after day after day, it becomes an unconscious program. We hardwire ourselves. And when we hardwire ourselves into being a certain way, we start to live out that process. And that's why when we tend to do things that are actually meaningful and beautiful, such as enjoying the present moment, such as meditation, such as just absorbing the now, focus on our breathing, focus on just appreciating every single thing around us, even if it's so minute and seemingly insignificant. And we start to focus on things that we actually enjoy doing, our hobbies. Like we somehow insidiously get pulled back into the quicksand of despair of our own egos. And we're constantly focused on time. We're constantly focused on being here, on this. I've got to do this. Listen, simply being busy is not being effective. We live in a culture, there's an epidemic upon us where everyone seems to be busy. That's all they say. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a busy person as well, but I'm actually busy. I'm actually moving from one amazing experience to the next most of the time. Me personally, I don't experience boredom most of the time. And when you do experience boredom, negativity seeps in. And when negativity seeps in, that's when we get involved and engaged in all kinds of negative addictions like, argumentations, conflict, drama, involved in drugs and excessive alcohol use and watching TV and overeating and all these sorts of addictions, and which leads to oxidative stress and chronic inflammation and all kinds of health-related problems and, free radicals proliferating and harming our healthy cells. And, leads to poor sleep patterns, and poor sleep patterns ruins our brain function, leading to a buildup of plaque. And, if we don't consume the right kind of supplementation, our brains start to suffer long term, and we come up with all kinds of problems, and it affects our self-esteem, and then our self-esteem makes us depressed, and then our depression harms and kills our brain cells even more. It's just a constant battering on the mind, and we need to look after our minds because it's the most complex and powerful tool and organ in the world. I mean, we have over 100 billion neurons in our brain. I mean, what our brains are capable of doing is absolutely astounding. And, the way most people live their lives is they just don't appreciate the magnificence that they are. And they constantly don't feel good enough, and they constantly feel insecure and insignificant. They're constantly wanting more and more and more. And that's how the ego messes us up, guys. Because, when we identify with the ego, we identify with lack and incompleteness. And when we feel incomplete, there's conscious pain and conscious incompleteness in the sense of, we develop these limiting beliefs, and we think things like, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm too overweight, and I'm not smart enough, and people don't love me, and I'm not this, I'm not that. And this is conscious problems that we become aware of, and we kind of start to bully ourselves, and we start to have these really negative, painful thoughts which leads to painful chemicals in our brain, essentially painful emotions and feelings. And these, emotions are the body's reactions to our thoughts. And so we start to behave in ways that harm us as well, because we don't believe we're worthy. So we start to get involved in gambling and overeating and trying to do instant gratification to change our state. And we turn to, poor quality foods, and we tend to, live out our fears. We start to encourage our fears and live it out, whether we want to or not. And this is how our egos let us down on the conscious level. But it also happens at an unconscious level, because unconscious pain and unconscious egotistical behavior presents itself as an intense craving, an intense desire, and an intense wanting for more in our lives. And that's why people look to always, they always want more. It's never enough. I just bought a new coat. I want another coat. I just went shopping again. I want this other coat. Or, my spouse isn't, and maybe they're not enough for me. Or maybe I should be looking elsewhere, and they get involved and start to cheat and have an affair because they feel like they want something more, that something's missing. And it's because they don't love themselves. Because they're too associated with their ego, with fear, with lack, with being insufficient. And it happens in all forms. This is why people overeat. This is why people become addicted to unhealthy eating programs. And they constantly want to eat. They eat more and more and more. And it's never enough. And their stomach just enlarges and becomes bigger. And they need to fill it. They need to eat more. And it boils down to poor self-esteem. And because they're addicted to their egos, and therefore addicted to food. This is real. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. And some beautiful practices that we begin to do every single day will start to really change things. And, when we do things like, say, between 66 days to 365 days consecutively, this is how a new pattern becomes instilled in our unconscious. Things like meditation, even 10 minutes. Sit down, breathe deeply. Really focus on your breathing and pay attention to the thoughts that come to your mind. And pay attention to if it's negative thoughts or positive thoughts, and what kind of feelings they produce within you. And what kind of beliefs they conjure. And the problem is, when people start to work on a habit that's really good for them, and what happens is they just look to get unsettled, and they want to do something different. Like, think about it. If you're not used to meditating and you go and sit down and you think, I'm just going to breathe deeply for, say, 20 minutes, they say. And they sit down and they get in that yoga position. They're really relaxed. Within 30 seconds, they're like, damn it, I can't do this. I need to get up. I need to go do something. I'm wasting my time here. This is nonsense. And it's their own unconscious. It's their own conditions. It's their own programs within their minds that's making them freak out. They need to associate with their egos again. They start thinking, I haven't got time for this. And whenever you think about time, it's the ego. And they say, you know what, I've got this and that to do. And they start associating with their problems. Again, their ego taking control. And if only they could just force themselves to sit down for 10, 20, 30 minutes and just focus on breathing, focus on being present, focus on thinking on what they're grateful for in their lives, the beauty within their existence, how amazing they are inside. Forget outside, forget the externals, forget the reputation, forget the ego. I'm talking about focus on being joyful. I'm talking about focus on what you love about yourself. Like your heart is beating. You don't have to do that. You're breathing. And obviously you can manipulate the way in which you breathe, but you don't have to consciously breathe most of the time, right? Your heart is pumping gallons of blood, like over 100 gallons an hour. You're not doing that consciously, are you? I know I'm not. Like, every single cell in your body is going through 100,000 chemical reactions. That's miraculous. That's beautiful. And when we become present, when we focus on the now, that's when we are closest to our greater intelligence. Whether you're spiritual, whether you are religious, whether you believe in this, energy and karma, whatever it is you believe, really it boils down to a greater intelligence. And you become closest to that greater intelligence when you're in the present moment. And that's when we really feel loved. And when you feel loved, and when you're in the now and you're in the present moment, you cannot be fearful. You just can't. It's the antidote to fear. Love is the antidote to fear. And when you're overwhelmed and you're stressed, and stress is another term for fear. And fear, when you experience fear, you're experiencing the ego. So whenever you're stressed, or what is stress? Stress is a feeling of discomfort, a feeling like you are lacking, like you've got too much to do. And when you feel like you've got too much to do, you're feeling overwhelmed because of your ego. Now, I'm not saying don't have a goal and don't have a purpose in your life, but sometimes you just have to not try and force things. And when you're trying to force things, that's when things aren't working. And you put yourself under tremendous pressure. And that imbalances your neurotransmitters. Like the regulation. We have over 100 neurotransmitters in our minds and bodies. And when that becomes imbalanced, I'm talking about things like serotonin, dopamine, GABA, norepinephrine, epinephrine, acetylcholine, all these neurotransmitters that are really powerful, that function, that transfer between our neurons, and that transfer signals from one neuron to a target cell within our bodies. Like, these are very powerful chemical reactions that take place here. And we need them to be balanced in order to live appropriately, in order to coordinate our behaviors, to do more of the things that support us and less of the things that hurt us. And when our neurotransmitters become imbalanced because of stress or because of an incident or because of an injury that we're probably creating in our own lives, that's right. If you're repeatedly hurting yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's because your neurotransmitters are imbalanced. Because of your ego. Because of stress. Because you've taught yourself, you're accumulating so much pain within you that you start to execute pain at an unconscious level. And it's down to us to get ourselves back into homeostasis. Because if we don't, we develop all kinds of problems, guys. We become impulsive, restless, impatient. We develop sleep disorders, emotional problems. Like, our immunity suffers, our digestion suffers. Like, our body can't function appropriately. This leads to a cloggy, foggy brain. We can't think clearly. We make more mistakes. This leads to all kinds of ailments and even diseases in the future if we are imbalanced for too long. Instead, we need to get this on track, and we can do so through meditation, mindfulness, being peaceful, experiencing flow, exercising, doing what supports the brain rather than hurts the brain. And this is what it takes to live abundantly, guys. This is the key to success, real success. Success is the art of happiness. Having a purpose in your life, serving and giving to others in ways that support us, that make us feel like we have meaning. Because if we don't feel like we have a purpose and meaning in our lives, we will die. We will firstly die, like, internally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and then we will die physically in this realm. And without a purpose, people perish. This is real. There's a reason why, when people become relatively elderly and their partner dies, like if their partner was all that they had in their lives and that was their only purpose and they passed away, like it's not uncommon for that person to pass away soon after because they don't have that purpose. That's why it's always important to have meaning, to appreciate, to live in the now, to not associate to anything externally. Because when you associate to external things are, we deem them to be pleasurable. But any form of external pleasure invariably results in pain. Even external pleasure from your spouse, external pleasure from your cars or your luxury goods, external pleasure from seeing and being with people in this realm, because eventually when they pass on, they'll hurt you. Unless you have a healthy relationship and you are so strong internally that you view any external changes more healthily, more appropriately, in ways that empower us. And we use it to fuel us and to add to our internal completeness, our wholeness in our lives. So if and when people around us start to pass away, instead of feeling like we've lost something, because when we feel like we've lost something, our brains will start to change. Our biochemistry will start to change. It forces change upon us, and we interpret this force as negativity. Now, don't get me wrong, lamenting is an understandable thing in our lives when we lose people. But we must at some point understand that their passing, their energy, their spirit still lives in us. And we use it internally to experience more joy, more happiness, more peace. It makes us stronger because we've taken them on board. They're with us, they live within us now. And the same for us when we pass away. Hopefully our energy goes into the people with whom love us. And we start to support them and make them even more complete. We teach them to live in the now. We pass our wisdom on. And that's what life is about. This is going to sound rather disturbing until you really process what I'm about to say. But, the sooner we die whilst we're alive, the happier we'll be. And it's when you lose that fear in your life, when you disassociate from your ego and wanting to feel significant and superior to others and feeling, identifying with external goods and external people and external things. When we remove that, or when we eliminate it, or when we reduce it significantly at least, that's when we begin to feel truly alive. Because we are beings on this earth for a certain period of time. And, they say, these cheesy, cringeworthy sayings like stop and smell the roses. Or, the best things in life are free. I know it sounds trite. But these are the most beautiful things in the world because this is what we have now. You listening to me now, this is a beautiful experience. When you go for walks and you travel and all these things that we take for granted. And when we're driving our car, stop and think, when's the last time when you were driving, you were thinking about what you're actually doing? You are flying on this earth. This is incredible when you drive. And yet when you drive, instead, you're focused on the past or the future, stressing out, becoming angry on the road, beeping people. You know what I mean? It's crazy what we do. Because our egos are in control. And when we experience anger or fear or anxiety or trepidation or I don't know, frustration or being short-tempered or being impatient and being sad and hopeless, like these emotions are connected to our egos. And we don't have to live there. And we certainly don't have to experience it too often or stay there for too long. And that's what emotional intelligence is, being able to change our state at any given time quickly by being in the present moment. And if you think about it, your success in so many different avenues is really down to how quickly you can become in the now, live in the now. Like, if you think about it, when you get scared about something, when you become fearful, really most of our fear happens in the lead up to something. Like, imagine like when you're queuing up to go on a really terrifying roller coaster ride or something. That build up is usually worse than the actual experience. Why is that? I know exactly why. Because when you're waiting, an hour, 2 hours to go on one of these funfair rides, and you're imagining all these worst case scenarios about what if this happens, what about that happens, what if it breaks, what if you stay upside down in midair and the roller coaster stops and halts for half an hour, how terrifying. What if you don't make it out alive? You start thinking about all these things. You're associating with your ego. And you're thinking about the past or thinking about the future or thinking about negative past experiences when you were on a roller coaster ride, for example. And when you are projecting the past or the present, you are projecting an illusion. You are living in an illusion. And you, in fact, start to hallucinate. Because when you start to think about these experiences, how bad things get, your heart starts beating profoundly, you start sweating, you start, trembling and all these sorts of things. These are physiological stresses as though you are being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or something. And it's all because of your own ego. And interestingly, when you're actually on this funfair ride, you are so caught up in the experience, the emergency, the thrill, the fight or flight response, that you're actually not thinking. And you're so immersed in the experience that it's nowhere near as terrifying as you thought. Because there's no room for fear. Like when you're flying in midair, when you're on a roller coaster ride, like you just have to experience. You can't think, oh my God, this is terrifying, because you're flying and you're just so immersed in the physical senses of it all. And, it's really sad that people have to wait. And, most people only experience the present moment when they're living in that emergency mode. And it's so sad. And we begin to associate with being in the present moment with being in these fearful states. And it doesn't have to be this way. And instead, when we begin to condition ourselves by meditating, by breathing deeply, by being in the present moment, by genuinely listening to people when we're having conversations with them, rather than, thinking about what we're going to be eating later, or thinking about something that's been on our minds and biting our nails. And whenever we bite our nails and things like this, our ego has us in its grasp, if you will. Because you're anxious when you're biting your nails. Do you understand? So this is how easily you can spot when your ego is taking control of you. And, the average person loses focus between, 6 to 10 times every single minute. That's insane. And it's unnecessary. And it can be changed by learning to be in the present moment, teaching ourselves habitually. Because, 95% of our beliefs, our emotions, our perceptions are subconscious programs. Meaning, most of the things we do every day, we run patterns. We've done something so often that our bodies, representing our unconscious, our feelings, our deep emotions, take over. Just like learning to drive a car. You just get enthralled in experience, and you don't even have to think about shifting gears or looking in your mirrors or turning the steering wheel at certain times. It's all natural. And our brains function this way. It's just that sometimes, many of us, we're so used to being run by our egos that we can't step off the rat race. We can't step off and just see what we're doing. That's why it's so important to have a mentor. Someone who can assess us from outside and say, listen, this is where you're tripping up. This is where you're procrastinating. This is where you're self-sabotaging. These are your limiting beliefs. I see what you're doing here. And if your friends or your close familial members can't help you with this, or if you don't listen, then there's only so much we can do. And for me, it's crazy. Like, I've got people around the world who absolutely love my content and what I'm doing for them, what I'm teaching them. They live, they're grasping on my every word when I talk. And they really want to live the things I'm teaching, these concepts, because they know what it can do to their lives. Yeah, I've got close familial members and close friends who can't even listen to what I'm saying. I mean, simply because of our egos. We don't want to listen. We don't value information as much if it comes from a close source, if that makes sense. But really, I'm sure some of your friends and some of your family members sometimes want to say things to you. Maybe they do. Maybe they are really direct and candid, which is brilliant. You should listen to what they're saying. Don't always accept it, but pay attention, because if several friends and several familial members are saying, listen, dude, this is your problem, or you keep making this mistake, or I think this is one of your patterns and you might want to get it checked out or something like that, then listen to them. Seek help in that area. Don't be stubborn and obstinate. Sometimes there's a time and a place to be stubborn and obstinate. But most of the time, there's no real reason to do so. So seek help, seek assistance if you're repeating a pattern. Spot signs, guys, because I think the universe is always giving us signs. I write about this in my book, The Art of Power, Happiness and Success. You can get it at Amazon. You can get it at my store, www.alexgemstore.com. And I teach the importance of paying attention to signs. Like, for example, if you were driving down the roads and, your mind's caught up in something, you're having an argument with someone you're in the car with, or your brain's gone on a tangent and you're so immersed and focused on something that's stressing you out in your mind, and you almost have a car crash and you just stop it in the last second. Like, that is a sign. That is a sign that whatever's on your mind, whatever's stressing you out when you're driving, firstly, you need to calm down and step back. Secondly, you need to address these problems. You need to sit down with this person who's stressing you out, or you need to change the situation, or you need to seek help. You need to change something. You need to meditate more, exercise more, step out of the situation. Because if you don't, you will have a car accident. And this is what people do. I know people who have several car accidents. It's because they're making the same mistakes. And this is the definition of insanity. Genius Albert Einstein put it best. You can't solve today's problems with the same kind of thinking you use that created these problems. Madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You need to do something new. You need to develop new thoughts. You can't develop new thoughts if you listen to the same people, if you do the same things every single day, if you experience the same physical environments every single day, if you're drinking from the same cup every single day, if you're going to the same gym every single day, if you're eating the same foods every single day, if you're interacting with the same people every single day, if you do the same thing every single evening pretty much. You're not stimulating new growth. You're not stimulating neurogenesis in the form of neuroplasticity. You need new experiences. You need novelty. You need to be challenged. You need to step outside of your comfort zone, because that's when you learn. That's when you realize, damn, I can do this. I can challenge myself. You need to learn new skills, develop new concepts. This is why, a few years ago, I'll be researching amazing people like Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins would be like getting a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm like, Tony Robbins getting a black belt in jiu-jitsu? What the hell is he doing? Why is he doing that? He's a genius in different areas. Why is he getting involved in this? And I've noticed these billionaires who are doing boxing and stuff like that. And really successful people getting involved in boxing or martial arts. I'm like, what are these people doing? Stick to what you're successful with. Why are you doing that? Focus on your business. Focus on your family. Do this and that. I really didn't understand what they were doing. And over time, I've now come to realize that it's all about stimulating new growth. It's all about exploring, experimenting, because that's how you stimulate the brain. That's how you stimulate something called brain-derived nootropic factor in your brain, which enables you to learn, rewire, restructure your own brain, develop new belief systems, therefore create new chemicals in your brain to partake in new habits. This is how you develop a childlike brain, a childlike mentality, where you constantly want to grow, challenge yourself, express yourself, be playful. When you're being childlike, not childish, but when you're being childlike, that's when you are fully open, fully in the present moment, fully immersed in activities, and you're being inquisitive and you're questioning things rather than being dull and boring and never trying new things, and you start to limit your box, your metaphorical box that you live in. And when you do that, you begin to rot inside out. You begin to develop all these age-related illnesses, and it's inappropriate. Instead, explore, challenge your existing skills, develop new skills. Challenge yourself. And that's the art to true happiness and true fulfillment. Being in the present moment, experiencing flow, developing new hobbies and challenging yourself in these new hobbies and mastering these skills slowly but surely. Making sure you prioritize and come up with, you make time for what's important in your life. Because too many people are spending time on things that are unimportant but urgent. And that's why they become reactive and unproductive. And their performance suffers. And they have low energy and they're fatigued all the time. I've got people coming up to me, Alex, help me out. I'm chronically fatigued, man. I just have low energy. No shit. You've conditioned yourself to have low energy. Because you're not challenging yourself. You're not living. You're not in the present moment. You're so used to experiencing boredom, negativity, frustration, anger. These emotions are exhausting. Even when you become familiar with them, they drain you. Instead, having fewer thoughts every minute, having more positive quality thoughts on a daily basis will spur growth, will spur challenge, will spur progress. And the more you improve in life, the more fulfilled you become. You feel more whole. You're just doing it for the process. You're not doing it for the results anymore. That's why you've got billionaires out there, guys. For example, I'm going to relate it to finance. That's why you've got people, and a lot of people become millionaires and billionaires and these sort of things out of lack, out of their ego, to want to be significant. But when they get to this area, they realize something. They don't have to work anymore. They don't have to focus on their businesses anymore. But they still do it with the same conviction, with the same dedication. And now they just keep creating new products and services, but they're giving most of their money away to charity. Why? Because it's not about the money. It's about the process. It's about the personal growth, the personal development. It's about being, as Maslow said, it's about self-actualization, the highest point, where you feel so fulfilled that you just want to create and give. Because you're creating out of joy, inner peace and happiness rather than lack, fear, wanting to be significant, wanting to be special, wanting to impress others. You go beyond that. And that's what it's all about, guys. And, it all starts with small things. Small things build up every single day. So my theory is every single day, make time for being in the present moment. Meditation, exercise, reading, flow-inducing activities, things that where you do them, you feel so immersed. If it's dancing, if it's playing sports, if it's some kind of like presenting to people, like some kind of sharing, talking, listening to music. I don't know what it is for you. Whatever you love doing, make time for it. If not every day, then several times a week. Make time for the things you love. Make time for the people you love. But only the people who have unconditional love for you. Because those are the people who will be there for you when things don't go right. If something goes wrong in your life, if you fall off the bandwagon, which can happen to people, that's when you really learn who's there for you. And, only prioritize time for people who have unconditional love for you. And, it might only be 2, 3, 5 people in your life. because everyone can be there for you when you're making money and you're looking after them and you're spending money on them. You're making them feel special. But, not many of these people will be around when things aren't going well, when your business goes downhill, or when you're going through a difficult time with a spouse or with your children or with your friends. That's when you really see who's there for you. And that's when you learn where your time should be allocated to. So make time for your priorities as often as you can. Make time for what's important to you in your life. What is important to you? Your family, your friends, your business, your charities, developing yourself, reading, growing. Make time for these things. Become proactive. And what you'll understand is that the more you start to plan for your priorities, and when you start to make it an unconscious pattern, and you start to easily and effortlessly make time for important things in your life, because we all make time for things that are significant to us. We all make time for our musts, but we don't always manage to make time for our shoulds. But once it becomes habitual, that's when you can start to take on more and do more, explore more. Like, I've had the most tremendous day today, for example. I stimulated autophagy, which is great for your cells and recycling your cells and creating strong, healthy cells within your body and eliminating toxins and half dead or ineffective cells. And clearing out dirty water in your brain, improving the quality of your neuron, the functions of your neuron, supporting cognitive development, supporting fat loss, and all these wonderful things. So I did a dry fast today for 18 hours. I had my coffee, still fasted, and I went and trained, did some kickboxing. And some weights first, then I did some kickboxing cardio after the weights, which helps you to maintain your muscle mass. Then I went for into the spa, especially the sauna, for my muscle recovery, and sauna's fantastic for energy levels, metabolism, sweating out toxins, all these sort of wonderful things, great for your skin and all these. And after that I had a freezing cold shower. It's January. I'm in the UK. It's freezing out there. But still, I know how good the freezing cold shower is for you. I did that for my blood circulation. I did it for my mindset. I did it for what it does for your energy levels, for stimulating BDNF, to improving your cognitive function, for improving your immunity. So I just had the freezing cold shower. I came back in, made my amazing health drink that I have pretty much every day. Matcha green tea, turmeric, which has got the main ingredient in turmeric is curcumin, wonderful for improving brain function, preserving memory, improving your memory within your hippocampus, within your brain, really supporting, brain function, magnificent for your health. Powerful antioxidants in the matcha green tea as well. You've got the EGCG, which is great for memory function as well, which is great for stimulating thermogenesis, improving your metabolism, helping you burn extra calories every single day. I put reishi mushroom powder in this drink, fantastic for digestion, immunity, just unbelievable for stimulating autophagy as well. What else do I put in this drink? Wheatgrass is great for your energy levels, highly alkaline, lots of antioxidants in it, absolutely wonderful, just generally speaking, beautiful stuff. What else did I put in this drink? Damn it, it's ironic, right? I do all this stuff from my memory and I still can't remember. I put one more other thing in there, damn it, what's kind of wheatgrass, matcha green tea, turmeric, reishi mushroom and something else. Oh, yeah, cacao powder for the iron, the magnesium, the potassium, great for blood circulation as well. Highly, powerhouse with antioxidants also, cacao powder, great for testosterone levels as well. just beautiful. What a beautiful drink. So I broke my fast with that today. I usually break my fast with bone broth, but I wanted to quickly make this shake. I've got it in front of me. I've also got yerba mate in front of me as well, packed with nutrients. Great source of energy. It's an Argentinian remedy. Beautiful yerba mate. So those are the two drinks I've got in front of me now. I'm doing my podcast, so I'm learning, I'm challenging, I'm doing what I love for a living. This is me experiencing flow. That's why I'm able to chat to you for an hour non-stop and completely flow. Beautiful, man. I mean, what my day today has been tremendous. I've worked on my business all day, fully focused, doing what I've got to do, coming up with products, being creative. I did my reading for an hour and a half today as well. Stimulating neurogenesis, improving cognitive function, creating new neurons in the hippocampus in my brain, learning, stimulating, challenging myself, growing. I love it. Absolutely love what I do. And, after this podcast, I'll have my first main meal for the day. It will be, what's the time here? It's encroaching upon 7 o'clock in the evening. I don't always push it this much with the autophagy and with the intermittent fasting. I only do dry fasting like once a week, couple of times a month. I'm just on a roll with that at the moment. I notice what it's doing to me, especially when I do dry fasting, and especially the day or two after. I do notice just how light I feel, how much energy I have. I'm like, damn, I didn't need to have a coffee, and I'm bouncing, I'm laughing, I'm smiling, I'm focused, and I put that down to the kind of drinks that I'm having, like I just explained to you, and how I stimulated autophagy through dry fasting and getting rid of my weaker cells. Really beautiful stuff. And I'm going to go have a healthy meal. I'm having an omelette which stimulates BDNF. These foods are great for your brain function. Things like tomatoes, mushrooms, a little bit of cheese, eggs, some milk, especially almond milk I like to have. I like to adhere to ketogenic lifestyles and / low carb. I fluctuate between the two. I'm going to have some tuna mayonnaise with some sweet corn. I mix it up with some Kerrygold butter. Oh, that's so good. I'm driving myself crazy right now. Why am I talking about food now? I'm going to put some pepper on that, add some spices, maybe a bit of Himalayan sea salt on there. Ooh, packed with 84 minerals. Ooh, beautiful. Trace minerals. Wonderful for your health, for giving you that energy, for giving your brain and body what it needs. What will I do after that? I don't know. I'm just going to zone out, chill out, start to wind down. Hopefully, I'm going to be in bed early today. I've got a lot of business work to do tomorrow, which I'm excited for. I'm going to, hopefully just calm down, start to visualize the future that I want to create before I go to bed as part of my bedtime routine. Last night I did some, what's it called? Lucid dreaming. Yeah, I don't do that all the time, but I did some lucid dreaming. So I'm in my dream, sleeping away. And I noticed that I'm dreaming, but I'm actually like awake in my dream, if you will. Very unusual experience. And I'm able to consciously do the things that I want in my dream. It's so cool. The problem is, I can't remember exactly what I bloody did when I was lucid dreaming. But I know for sure that I was conscious whilst I was dreaming. I was able to actually do the things I actually wanted to do, rather than it happened like a movie that just happens in front of you. So that was really cool. I think it's got something to do with where my mind's at the moment. Very creative, right? Free flowing. So that was really interesting. I want to explore sleep. And, your brain is more active when you're actually sleeping, believe it or not. I tend to have most of my supplementation before I go to sleep to give myself every opportunity to recover, because when you sleep, that's when you recover. That's when you remove plaque from your brain. That's when you consolidate short-term information into your long-term memory, become more intelligent, improve your memory. That's when your brain and body recovers from the day. Sleep is invaluable. It improves the quality of your performance, your focus the following day. I aim to sleep at least 8 hours most days. This is how I know I'm getting old, damn it, because I get annoyed when when I have one bad night's sleep. So if I'm thinking, damn, I'm going out, or I'm going to stay out late tonight, and, I'm a bit of an early bird usually. I usually wake up before 7 o'clock in the morning. Between like 5-ish to 7-ish, 7:30 is usually when I get up pretty much every day throughout the course of the year. Even when I go out, I know, frustrating, right? And that's why, that's why most days I live the life of a geek, and I love it. I feel so happy, like sleeping, I'm exercising, I have amazing relationships, I have, my brain is improving rapidly because of how much I challenge myself. My self-esteem is soaring. I've never accepted myself so much in my life. The amount of people I'm serving, the amount of people I'm helping. My business is growing. I'm helping more and more people. Like, this fills me with so much joy and happiness. And, my investments are growing every single year upon year. My property portfolio is growing every single year. I'm giving, I'm sharing, I'm giving more and more to charities every single year. I mean, this is it. This is life. I can't ask for much more than this. And when you get to this state, everything just, things flow more. I don't force things like I used to do in my early to mid 20s, where I was forcing success. I was like, I've got to do this now, otherwise it's all going to fall apart. I mean, I'm coming from a place where things flow more. Don't get me wrong, I'm still working. I don't like that verb, working, but I'm still doing tremendous things and taking tremendous amounts of action to my business and to my investments on a daily basis. But I'm so much more at peace with whatever happens. It's tremendous. It's a beautiful place to come from. And ironically, I'm attracting and moving toward even more beautiful things in my life because of this. And it's truly, I'm truly blessed. And, when I visualize my future, I genuinely feel like I'm creating the kind of life I want by oscillating between the present moment and the future, the present future, if you will. And, I only make time to focus on the future if it's a positive visualization, or if I'm writing down and planning for my short-term, medium-term, or long-term goals. And when you do that, you project this beautiful future, and you start to take action because you genuinely believe it. And when you start to work synchronistically and you start doing the right things at the right time with the right intentions, that's what builds momentum. That's what creates luck and fortitude. And that's what gives me that strength, that resilience. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'm helping people to create that within themselves as well. And it's amazing to see people really take hold of their lives, really become more present, more giving, more supportive, reduce the toxic acid in their lives, the acidic people, the acidic habits, the acidic addictions they've created in lives, to change their eating programs, to change their sleeping programs, to give more to their friends, their family, to create relationships that are based on unconditional love. And I'm helping people to live longer. I'm giving people more energy. I'm helping them to become more productive in their lives. I mean, there's nothing more important in your life than this. And I can help you on your journey as well. Come join me. Sign up for my course. Go to my website, guys, www.alexgem.com. All you need to do is click where it says join PHS. It's right under where you get my free ebook, 10 Steps to Excellence. Hook yourself up with that as well. It's a beautiful, very quick, powerful read, backed by science, backed by trial experience, backed by the studying I've done of ultra successful, happy and incredible human beings throughout history, along with the things that I've learned through my history as well. And it's a beautiful read. So go get that free ebook. Just under that, you'll see where it says join PHS today. Click, enter your credit card details. You'll gain instant access to my elite course. It's called the Power System, taking you from where you are now in your life. If you're depressed, if you're building momentum, no matter where you are, we're going to take you to that next level. It's a precise journey, step-by-step process. And the bulk of it is really working on our mindset, our energy levels, our habitual programs, our goals, our priorities, how to create success, what success looks like, how to rewire and restructure your brain, how to challenge yourself, how to step outside your comfort zone. These are beautiful things. And then we start to break down some actual things that you can do, some actual practical things you can do, like how to meditate, how to exercise, the importance of sleep, what routines, what supplementation to adhere to, what kind of eating programs you might want to adhere to, how to change your thoughts, how to build better relationships, how to become a self-leader. All these remarkable things. I've thrown 3 amazing bonuses in there as well for you, like hours of exclusive video footage, hours of exclusive podcasts like this, but exclusive that are really targeted on certain nuanced things. Really meticulous, high-end stuff, guys. And 100 audio segments to keep you moving forward, to keep you on track. Go hook yourself up. Really, the package is worth between $1,200 to $2,000. I'm not charging anywhere near that. I want you to invest in me, invest in yourself. You deserve it. When you complete this course, start it again from the beginning, guys. That's the only way to really make this habitual, to change your unconscious, to become more involved in the present moment, to create a more fulfilling, joyous lifestyle from the inside out, rather than people focusing on the externals and trying to work their way in. It's much harder when you do that. So take your quality of life to the highest level. Come join me at the Power Mastermind. And wow, it would be incredible to meet you personally. And I only take 20 people, 20 committed, hardworking people who really want to transform the quality of their lives, their energy levels, their focus, their discipline, learning the importance of... We're going to focus on attacking our fears, attacking our problems together. We're going to focus on being more peaceful, knowing what our deep desires are, why they are our desires. Like some tremendous activities we break down together. We're going to break down how to become even more productive, what new habits we will want to do. You're not going to just learn from me, you're going to learn from everyone else there. It's about learning from the collective genius of the people who attend this mastermind. Now, if you can't attend live, then I strongly advise you to get the course version, the Power Mastermind Virtual. You can get that just below the courses that I provide on my website as well. So check that out. Great value. You can see me work with an audience live as well. So you can learn from the experience that I did with these fantastic people. And you can also see me complete these individual worksheets and tasks that are worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, really. It's taken me 15 years to accumulate all this knowledge, to put these tasks together and to present them to you in such a way. So tremendous value to be taken from the mastermind. Go check it out for yourself. And I'm just really, truly blessed to be part of your journey. I hope you take as much as you can out of this. I hope it really, really makes a massive difference and leads to a gigantic transmutation in your life. And I'm so proud to be part of this journey. Have an amazing day, guys. Challenge yourself, grow, be in the present moment, appreciate yourself, express love, share love, change your unconscious, and truly create the lifestyle that you want and you deserve. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.